All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we review who really showed out at Niner Pro Day. And there was one local kid that absolutely opened my eyes. We'll talk about him coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Thanks to Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And of course, we are sponsored by our good friends, and this video is sponsored by LearnKeys Upskill Academy, an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. Whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, or another high demand field, they offer over 30 different certification programs to help you take that next step in your professional career. They've been in business for 37 years, over 200,000 students. They place students every month in good paying jobs. LearnKey. And while you're leveling up your career with LearnKey's Upskill Academy, why not test your football brain as well? We're teaming up with LearnKey for a special April NFL draft contest where you can predict the top 12 picks in the upcoming draft for a shot to win a $100 Visa gift card. It's totally free to enter. Just fill out the Google form linked in the description below, and your predictions for picks 1 through 12. Entries will be graded based on how many correct player to pick matches you get. First place gets a $100 Visa gift card. Second place gets a $50 Visa gift card. So hit that link, lock in your draft board, and let's see who really knows their draft stuff. Good luck, and big thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for sponsoring the show and the contest. All right, let's talk a little bit about yesterday. I was in Santa Clara yesterday for the 49ers local pro day. And you know, it's always very, very interesting. It really is, because this isn't the creme de la creme. This isn't like the combine where you have the best players. You have players that have local ties. So they're either born and raised in the Bay, or they went to high school in the Bay, or they went to Cal, Stanford, San Jose State. They went to college locally. They have to have some local tie. And if they do have that local tie, they're invited to, the local team's local pro day. Every team in the league has one, and the 49ers had theirs yesterday. And there were 5 guys that really caught my eye, but there was one guy who I really didn't have on the radar at all, who, man, this guy opened my eyes, and now I got to have this guy. We got to have this guy in the 49ers somehow, some way. So let's go through the 5 guys that opened my eyes. We'll go through the first 4, and then we will get to the star of today's video, the star of yesterday's local pro day. All right, let's get into it. First of all, probably the 2 best players that were at the local pro day didn't get on the field. Teddy Buchanan, the linebacker from Cal. I didn't see him working out. He was there. He attended. He showed the Niners that, he loves them and wants to be a Niner and that kind of thing. But he didn't participate in the workouts, at least not from what I saw. The other guy who's really, really talented, who also did not play in the workouts, was Alec Ayamanor, or I should say Ayamanor. I think I've been calling him Ayamanor. Alec Ayamanor. From Stanford, who's a Deerfield, Massachusetts kid who went to Deerfield, college prep. He went to a Deerfield Academy or whatever, and then went to Stanford. So obviously he's very smart, and he's athletic, 6'2", 210. The big concern is he blew out the knee a couple of years ago. So ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus, the whole kit and caboodle, blown out. And my big concern is just that when I saw him in his highlights this year, everything was contested. Everything. I mean, I didn't see anything where there wasn't a defensive back right there with him. So I kind of question his ability, even at the 4.4 speed that Ayamanor has, to be able to separate from NFL caliber corners. But those were the 2 best players there. I don't think there's any question about that. They were the 2 highest rated players. They're probably going to be the 2 players that get drafted the highest. There could potentially be somebody who gets drafted higher than those guys. If it is, it would probably be Esapole. Um, I really liked watching Esapole. He's a great story, right? Esapole played at Washington State, didn't play high school football at all. I mean, it wasn't like he didn't play a lot of high school football. He didn't play any. He's a Hayward kid. Mom didn't let him play high school football, didn't want him banging his head and getting hurt. And so he didn't play football as a youth, didn't play football in high school. And it wasn't like, he didn't play freshman year and then he tried out, as a junior and he played a couple. No, he didn't play high school football at all. He didn't play football until he tried out at Chabot Junior College. And then Esapole grew to 6'7", 320 pounds. He was the starting tackle this year for Washington State, and he didn't allow a sack all year. And I think he could be a really good day 3 pick. Tackles are always highly coveted. It's rare to find a 6'7", 320-pound human being. So just on that alone, he puts him in an exclusive category. But this guy can play, and he's athletic. His body's fresh. He's not beaten up. I think he's clearly a developmental offensive tackle, but he might be a good one. He didn't allow a single sack this year for Wazoo, and he's 6'7", 320, and he moved really well yesterday in the workout. So Esapole, number one on my list of prospects yesterday. I mean, we didn't see, as I said, we didn't see Alec Ayamanor. We didn't see Teddy Buchanan. So of the guys that put themselves on the football field, Esapole really definitely stood out to me. And Matt Barrows talked to him after practice. I wanted to get a chance to, but we ran out of time. Number 2 on my list of players that stood out at the Niner Local Pro Day, Jermaine Terry II. Now, another local kid. All these kids are local ties somehow. He went to Kennedy High School in Richmond and then played at Oregon State. 6'4", 245-pound tight end. Pretty athletic. Good hands. Looks like he should be in an NFL training camp this summer. He's probably not going to be drafted, but as an undrafted guy, he'll sign somewhere and be in somebody's camp competing for a spot. I think he's impressive. Another guy that really impressed me is my buddy's kid. I went to Sac State, and my good buddy Dom Mazzotti, who played for Sac State, was in my fraternity, and he's a good friend of mine. Anyway, his son, by the same name, Dominic Mazzotti, played at San Jose State and then finished up this year at UMass. Mom and dad live up in Grass Valley. This kid grew up in Pleasanton. He went to Amador Valley. He's an Amador Valley Don. He was like 180 pounds in high school. He's now 6'4", 255. And he was looking great in the drills. He's got great receiving ability. He's more of a receiver than a blocker. So he needs, work on his strength. He's a converted quarterback who needs work on his strength and his run blocking. But as a pass receiver, he's a pretty good pass receiver and kind of tough. And I was talking a little bit to his teammate Nick Nash, and Nick says, man, this guy watches film endlessly, and he's a big fan of Dominic Mazzotti Jr. So there you go. You got Esapole, Jermaine Terry, Dominic Mazzotti Jr., the tight end from UMass. Those 3 guys stood out. Then I would say Nick Nash. Nick Nash is 6'3", 195, also a converted quarterback. He's an older player. He doesn't run a great 40. He's going to be a day 3 pick, but we're talking about one of the most productive wide receivers in the entire country. The 49ers are not going to have Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel at the beginning of the year. They're not going to have Deebo anymore. They may get Ayuk back in the middle of the year, but they're going to need some receiver to step up. And, the free agent market has come and gone. The Niners got DeMarcus Robinson, but Nick Nash is very polished and can get open. And we'll see. I mean, he's got good size. He's got good hands. He's skinny. He's thin. There's no question about it. He's kind of a slender build. But as far as an undrafted rookie free agent wide receiver that has the potential to potentially walk into your room and make the team and make a little bit of a contribution, I think Nick Nash might be on the short list. He's got the height. He's got the production. We'll see if he can gain separation with his route running. He doesn't have that extra gear clearly when you watch him, but very productive player, very polished player, very proven at the collegiate level. And maybe he's a guy that they could bring in and as an undrafted player, and he could maybe make the team, and maybe even help them out in the early part of the year because he is pretty polished. So those were number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 on my list of players that stood out to me. Now I'm going to show you the player that I thought stole the show. And there's an old scouting axiom, which is let your eyes tell your brain what they see, not the opposite. Don't let your brain tell your eyes what it's watching. Let your eyes tell your brain what they see. In other words, don't go into it with lots of preconceived notions. It's an almost near impossible thing to do. We all know who the best players are, especially on the teams that we cover. And it's hard to just pretend that you don't know who's good and who's not, and who was a first round pick and who's an undrafted guy, and who's likely to make the team and who's not. But try to discipline yourself to just be like you're watching a practice for the very first time. Like you know nothing about any of these players, and you just want to find that you just want to see who stands out. Who stands out? Well, here is a guy. I'm going to share the screen here. Here's a guy that I thought stood out, and he's a great story. I'm going to play his highlight reel so you can see his highlight reel as we talk a little bit about him. Giles Jackson. Giles Jackson, man. This guy stood out. University of Washington, slot corner, 5'9", about 181 pounds. He's a Oakley kid. Went to Freedom High School. I was just there at Freedom High School for a baseball game a couple of weeks ago. Freedom High School in Oakley is where he hails from. He's 5'9", 180 pounds, slot receiver. Started off at Michigan. So, I mean, this guy is, just the fact that he played at Michigan shows that, he was a 4-star recruit. This was a very good player at Freedom High School. If you're an Oakley person, if you're a Freedom High School person, you know this name. You know Giles Jackson. So he goes to Freedom High School, has a great high school career, and he's 5'9", 190. But man, this kid is twitched up. And he goes to Michigan, and he's an all Big Ten honorable mention honor as a return specialist in 2019. Made an immediate impact for the Wolverines. 833 all-purpose yards as a true freshman. Had a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against Maryland as a true freshman. So, as I said, Freedom High School in Oakley. He was a 4-star recruit. He scored 63 touchdowns at Freedom High School. He was demonstrated his versatility. He scored a touchdown running, receiving, as a kick returner, as a punt returner, on defense with a fumble return, and on defenses with an interception return. I mean, this guy did it all. This guy absolutely did it all. So then he goes to Michigan. He transfers to UW in 2021. And he appeared in 48 career games across his college career. He started at both Michigan and Washington. His senior season showed incredible growth as a receiver. Against Wazoo in the Apple Cup, 8 receptions for 162 yards and a touchdown. This is another thing that I love. Show me what the player did in the biggest games of the year. That's what matters to me, because they're college kids. You could have a bad game. Heck, you could have your girlfriend could have left you. You could have had a bad test. You're a college kid. Show me how they played in the biggest games. I care about that. This kid against Wazoo, 8 for 162 and a touchdown in the Apple Cup. That's the rivalry game. He also kept up, his role as a special teams demon. Finished his career with over 1,000 kick return yards and 2 kick return touchdowns. In the Sun Bowl game against Louisville, 11 catches for 161 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's impressive. That's impressive in the Sun Bowl. If you watch this guy in the Sun Bowl, he dominated it. Absolutely dominated the Sun Bowl. So, I mean, 11 for 161 and 4 touchdowns. He's a durable player. Now, they clocked him in his workout at 4.4, 4.45. But the people that I've talked to about this kid in the last day say that he's a 4.3 burner. That his speed is really that of a 4.3 guy. He's twitched up. He's got legit 4.3 speed. Now he ran 4.45 in the workout, so that's his official time. But this guy's got rare acceleration and rare burst off the line of scrimmage, and he can stack the corner and get vertical. He's got great body control. He can track the ball. He plucks the ball with his hands. He catches it in stride, and he doesn't need to gather and stop to catch the ball. He's got incredible lateral agility. He's got what I would say is elite stop-start. Elite stop-start. So he's a threat in space, man. This guy is going to be, if you're one of these teams that likes to use, jet sweeps and orbit motion, this is your guy. This guy's a home run threat in the return game. He's got proven production in the return game. He's a multi-phase weapon. You can align him across the formation. He's really good. He's a core special teamer. He's got lots of experience. He's contributed as a gunner. He's got discipline and coverage. He doesn't have a huge catch radius, but man, this guy can absolutely, he's very precise. He needs to expand the route tree for sure. He doesn't have the greatest body size. I mean, he's 5'9", 190. But this guy stood out. I mean, if you are, if your offense features some RPO, this is your guy. If your offense features some jet motion, this is your guy. If you're looking for a special team return guy who can also help you from scrimmage, this is your guy. This is just a really, really good football player. And to me, when you go look at that game log and saw what he did, I mean, you can see this he's small, but he's not weak. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to like there from Giles Jackson. So there you go. That was the guy to me that stood out. You say, who stood out? Giles Jackson is the guy that stood out to me. I mean, look at him hurdle these defenders. 5'9", 185, 190, burner, but guy who can do it from scrimmage. Absolutely can do it from scrimmage. And if you looked at his game log, the guy had a tremendous year. He caught 85 balls this year for 893 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he runs, roughly, 4.3, 4.4. And he's kind of tough. And you should have seen him yesterday running these routes that the Niner receivers run every day in practice. But, I mean, the precision, the stop and start, the explosiveness, how hard he ran the routes. Impressive, man. Impressive. Knew nothing about him. Didn't watch UW that much this year. When I did, I didn't study Giles Jackson. I mean, they had Adunze and McMillan the last few years. And this guy was their guy this year. And, man, he's not big, but he is good. He is good. So there you go. There was the local pro day. Jermaine Terry II, good-looking undrafted free agent prospect as a tight end. Esapole could be a day 3 offensive tackle. Really liked him. Nick Nash, probably a day 3 or an undrafted receiver, very polished. Dominic Mazzotti, Jr., I think a sleeper prospect at tight end who could come in and really help a team as a receiving tight end. But the star of the local pro day, Giles Jackson, the Michigan transfer who played at UW this year, return man. What can you say? Freedom High School in Antioch, all the way maybe to the Niners. So I loved watching him. He was great to watch. He was fun as heck prospect to watch. And remember that name. When the Niners go through their undrafted list of players this year, you might see this guy's name on there. And if you do, say you heard it here first from Krug, because this kid can play. That's the beauty of knowing a little something and having scouted is I don't need the Niner PR guy to come over and go, hey, by the way, this guy over here, check him out. No, I don't need that. I can just go out there and watch it and just see who jumps off the off the screen, or in this case, just jumps off the out of my eyeballs watching this thing. So I'm watching it live yesterday. I'm thinking, wow, this kid can absolutely move. And then when I went and looked at his story and read his story and started looking at his game log, saw what he did in the Sun Bowl. I'm a big proponent that the guys who are the best play big in big games. And his two biggest games this year were the Apple Cup and the bowl game against the Sun Bowl against Louisville, and he lit them both up. Giles Jackson. Remember that name. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And, of course, thanks to LearnKey Upskill Academy for sponsoring this video and sponsoring our NFL Draft contest. The links are in the description below. Give a like on your way out. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.